Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, today we are talking about time signatures. Time signatures are what tell you what note of all the notes on the table of halves and doublings is going to be equaling or representing one beat or one count. That's basically how it works. So before we do what's on the page, if you see a number 4 at the bottom of your time signature, it's going to represent quarter notes because it always looks like 1/4, okay? If you see an 8 on the bottom of your time signature, what do you think it's going to be? It's going to be an 8th note, right? So 1/8. And this would be a quarter. If you see a 2 on the bottom of your time signature, what note is going to represent 1? It's going to be a half note. If you see a 1 on the bottom of your time signature, what do you think is going to represent the note? It would be a whole note. It would be like 1/1, which is a whole. Now, these bottom numbers can only be numbers that are in the table of halves and doublings. They can't be anything else. They will only be something representing a note. What if you see a 32? It's going to represent 1/32 note. So you'll see this. And that'll be the unit of beat. Now, even though that doesn't happen too often, it's theoretically possible. Question?
What about 3?
You won't see a 3 because it's not on the table of halves and doublings. Only something on the table of halves and doublings. Okay. The top number of the time signature is going to tell you how many per bar. So let's say I've got 3, 4. What's that going to tell me? It's going to tell me 3 quarter notes. And the bar will be the value of 3 quarter notes. It could be something like this. It could be 2 eighth notes, which equal a quarter note, and then 1 here, and then a quarter note, and then maybe 4 16th notes. All of that equals 3 4 time because I have 3 quarter note worth in that bar. Make sense? What if I have What if I have 2 2? What does that tell me? 2 half notes per bar. There's 1 bar of 2 2. Here's another bar of 2 2. It looks a lot like 4 4, doesn't it? For those of you who are familiar with that. Let's get crazy. What if I have 15 16 like the piece we heard? What does that tell me? 15 16th notes in 1 bar. It might look like this. 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5. And 1 2 3 4 5. That would be 1 bar of 15 16th. The way time signatures work is not terribly difficult if you understand what the bottom number is, and then you know that the top number just tells you how many of them there are per bar. Yes, that music might be difficult to perform, but at least you'll understand how it's organized. What if you saw this? This time signature might exist in more modern music. You're not going to see it in Bach or Beethoven, but you might see it in later composers of the 20th century and beyond. What does that tell you? It tells you 8 eighth notes, but they're going to be grouped in 3s and 2s and 3s. And the bar might look like so. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. And if the rhythm is going to continue this way, 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3, if it's going to continue that way for a while with accents right here, then you might see it written out as 3 plus 2 plus 3 over 8, or 16, or 4, or whatever you want it to be. The same music can be written out in any kind of time signature that you want to. You want to make it the most clear time signature that you can. So very often what we choose is this time signature. What does that tell me? 4 quarter notes per bar. And this is what we learn as children. Children often learn 4/4, but I got to tell you, when I learned this as a child, I was confused by the two numbers. They told me that this is how many per bar, and this means quarter note gets 1 count. And that didn't make any sense to me. I just saw 2 4s. And so it wasn't until later that I started to realize this number can only be something in the table of halves and doublings. This number tells me how many of them, and it made a lot more sense. This time signature 4/4, there's a bar 4/4, 1, 2, 3, 4. This time signature happens so much in music that we sometimes abbreviate it to this. And what does the C stand for? Common time. It happens in so much music, from jazz to rock to classical, that we call it common time. A lot of the music that is written goes in 4/4 time. The other one, very common, is this. 2/2, which tells me what? 2 half notes per bar. Watch what I'll do. The bar looks exactly like 4/4, doesn't it? Looks exactly like 4/4, except my notes are a little too bloated. But this happens so much also, and it's twice as fast. This is ta, 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 and this is ta, ta, ta. It just happens twice as fast. We speed up all the note values, that we call this a C with a slash through it, which means cut time. Often used in jazz, you're going to feel that the music moves twice as fast. And you can look at it as 4/4, you can look at it as 2/2. You can learn your 2/2 and 4/4 if you want to, and then speed it up and it'll become 2/2. But this one basically has 1 beat, 2 beats, 3 beats, 4 beats, and this one has 2 beats. 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. This one has 1, 2, 1. It just moves faster. Okay, and that's the difference between common time and cut time, and this is the presentation on time signatures. Thank you.